Prepare yourself for Earthling Entertainment, the perfect blend of paranormal and pop culture, with your host, Joe Wakefield and Ryan Lang.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Earthling Entertainment with Joe Wakefield and Ryan Lang.
Well, hey, I'm Joe Wakefield, and I'm here with my blue jeans pal.
Well, hey there. We're Blue Jeans buddies. I'm Ryan Lang.
It's so stupid. All
We're
right.
Blue Jeans pals. Blue Jeans pals.
All right. I'm going to love that forever. I'll just start it over real quick.
Well, what do you know? Look at us.
God damn it.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Earthling Entertainment with Joe Wakefield and Ryan Lang.
Hey, I'm Joe Wakefield.
And I'm Ryan Lang.
Well, hello, everyone. So, for those of you joining us for the first time, what do we do here at Earthling Entertainment? What
do we do?
What is this podcast all about?
What?
Well, I'll tell you. What we do here is a little bit of the spooky, a little bit of the creepy. Sometimes it's cryptozoology, other times it's haunting, or a myth, or a mystery, or a legend. But it's always spooky.
Okay.
That, of course, is followed by a segment we lovingly call Disclosure Discussion. It's all about aliens.
I'm just asking questions. UFO stories, any new photos or videos, things that have been released or asked of the government about UFOs. That's what we talk about.
That's right. And then the second part of the show, the latter half, if you will, is all dedicated to pop culture and entertainment. Sometimes that's movie news. Other times we have celebrity guests. Occasionally we play trivia games or we talk about music or video games, but it's all pop culture all the time. And those two parts of the show, the spooky and the pop culture, come together in the delicious moon pie of a podcast we've come to know as Earthling Entertainment.
Sorry about that.
Welcome.
Welcome indeed.
So, Ryan, you went to a concert, right?
Went down to the Masonic Temple to see King Diamond, Overkill, and Night Demon. Never seen Night Demon or Overkill before.
Night
Overkill,
Demon's a fun name.
it was cool. They were really good. They were a three-piece. They were solid, really tight band. I honestly really enjoyed it. Their live music seemed a little better than what they had recorded, in my opinion. But that's just my opinion. I jammed some of their stuff last night on the way home.
Everyone said back in the day Kiss albums only sold if they were live. Like their studio albums weren't big back in the day. So, hey, same thing.
The singer played bass and he gave me big Jack Black vibes. Like he was kind of a big chubbier guy, but he was crazy. He was really into it.
Nice.
And King was phenomenal, of course, absolutely amazing. And got to go there with my girlfriend, met a lot of people there. That was fun. But before we went, another thing that was cool, my girlfriend she loves Jack White from, White Stripes.
Sure.
So she brings me to this place called Third Man Records in Detroit. And it was really cool. A lot of old records, a lot of old, old cool stuff in there. And I go to the back and they literally are making records. They're like,
with the weird
records.
putty and that they press and then cut.
It was so cool. And they had all the different stations. And, there was a dude that would do, two things. You know what I mean? And they would just fill up it and then they would move that to the next station.
Their little assembly line going on.
It was so cool. So I just stood there and I've never seen it before. And there was like a smell that was like kind of cool. Like this weird.
The melted vinyl, I imagine.
Yeah. There was like this interesting smell to the place. It was really cool. And I suggest everybody go check that out even if you're not like into the White Stripes or whatever. I mean, just to see.
Where is it in Detroit?
Oh, shoot. It was literally right by...
You can't say check something out without knowing where it is.
Well, it's called Third Man Records. It's in
Fair
Detroit, and it's right by the Masonic Temple. Like, it really was not far at all, because that's where we were for the show. It was really cool. It's like a dying art, right? Like, to see that.
Well, I'm pretty sure they opened that up a few years ago to try to revitalize vinyls a bit.
Definitely. And you definitely see a big comeback in vinyls now. A lot of new
records are released in like limited for sure, but in vinyl.
I feel like it's more for the piece, right? Like you even see bands I think we talked about before that do it on a tape. Like they'll still
Cassette
a
tapes.
cassette tape.
Yeah, another thing is we talked about it a little bit last week. They're doing VHS releases for movies too.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's so bizarre.
Because it's like physical media has entered such this weird stage where we don't really use it anymore. So now it's like
using its quiche.
so it's like, yeah, you just want to have something to put up on your shelf. Like you're probably never gonna play it, like the record. Like
You're
most,
talking to
you
a
know,
man who has a lot of things on his shelves.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It just becomes a shelf piece for the movie that you like or the band that you like. Like you put their record up. King Diamond, he's released all of his old records on records.
Yeah,
now,
on vinyl,
and they all look really cool. They all got like the different color and shit. Certain bands have like ones that look like it's blood, like running inside, like when you tilt it around and shit, like the blood moves around.
Sure. But you remember our buddy Jeremy Mennel, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he DJs and he has a bunch of records. So I think he might be not displaying them. He might be actually playing them. So these
Correct.
records are for people using them as well.
That's
not
true.
just display pieces.
That's true. I always wondered if like they were using real records like from, or if there were like certain like DJ that were like meant to be scratched up or whatever. I don't understand. I'm so out of the loop on these things. I imagine it was all digital by now.
Well, what little I know is I know a few people who do actually spin records, and not everyone does. Is kind of the short answer.
That's
But
cool,
yes,
though,
there are some people who do actually spin records, and in that case,
as like a part of their setup.
yeah, and in that case, they usually have two of a record if they're gonna scratch it, and scratching it is kind of like an old '80s '90s thing. They don't do that as much.
Yeah.
they like move it back to like set a loop of a piece of the music that'll like keep playing and other weird things like that.
I've always wanted.
I'm not a DJ, man. I don't know. I'm sure I got that all wrong.
I've always wanted to get a record player, but then I don't want to go down that road.
Oh yeah,
Because-
you don't want to go down that road.
Because once I do that, now I got to start buying fucking records, and those are expensive.
Oh, I know. I did. Okay, I never even bought a 4K Blu-ray player. I just got a PlayStation 5. But the fact that it could play 4K Blu-rays, now I own like 10 of them.
Yes. It's kind of like, remember the laser disc? Like when people like,
not personally, but yes, I've seen laser discs.
yes, I've watched Laserdisc at that was in middle school. That's how our technology was.
I mean,
back
dude, no, that was old back then.
That was old back then. Yeah, that's what we had.
When we were. So you wait a minute. So your family was 10 years behind on the VCR
No,
situation?
not my family. It was the school. I remember in school when they would like show you like science videos.
Oh
of it,
my
like
God.
they would wheel in a motherfucker with fucking laser disc.
That's so weird. That's like someone with an A-track.
And for the record, anybody who doesn't know my age listening, I graduated in like 05. So like, yeah, like, you know, I'm no spring
So,
chicken, but
Middle school
like,
was like
middle
what,
school
late
was-
90s because
yeah,
it was
late
2001
90s.
we were freshmen in high school.
right. So there was no excuse for us to
having
be
an
using
eight-
Laserdisc.
Yeah.
It just makes me
Because at
think,
that point it was still 15 years old.
it makes me think of SLC Punk. There's a movie on there. But like I could,
It's a
I'm
shiny CD, the sides of a record, and it did the quality. I mean, I guess it was better than VHS.
but they were like having records.
They
and
were full records.
that was
yeah.
going to be my next point in not wanting to go down the road of buying a record player and collecting records. That shit takes up room. Like those are big, and when you get a lot of them, it's like you basically need like a fucking trunk.
Well, okay,
of,
yeah,
like
fair enough.
records. Like
Well, I'd say records are also really thin, so you can stack a lot of them. But then I was thinking about my comic collection, and I just keep having to buy more boxes for
Exactly.
my comics. So yeah, it does add up. It does add up.
so, it's just not yet, but someday, Joe.
Someday. Well, speaking of actually, there's no way to transition that. Let me try again. Someday. Well, this day, Ryan, we're going to talk about our Japanese water river demon known as the Kappa. Who doesn't love a Kappa?
I don't know. We're about to find out.
Yeah. Were you aware of this creature before today's podcast?
I swear I've heard the name Kappa
I'll tell you why you've heard the name Kappa. I've been waiting for
because
this.
of Monsters University, Uzma Kappa.
Okay. Not what I was going to say. I was going to say the 1993 film Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, subtitled Turtles in Time, not officially, but people.
Nope, yep,
yeah,
yep,
yeah,
yep,
well,
yep.
Long story short, the Japanese shogun, who is like the villain in that film, was under the impression that our turtles who traveled in time were in fact Kappa, and he
that's
called them
right.
Kappa.
That's right.
That was my first introduction.
Bungee jumping without a bungee could be dangerous.
Definitely the least of the 3 original live actions, but still fun.
The faces were weird.
They were. It's because the other ones were Jim Henson, and I don't know who did the one in the third one, but they weren't Jim Henson anymore.
They were a little off-putting.
Pointy and just
little off-putting.
They weren't as bad as the live action suits from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Next Mutation, the 1997 series that was created by Saban.
I don't even know.
Well, I pretty much said it all right there.
Well, damn.
That's where they introduced the first female turtle, which was named Venus. For some reason, had turtle boobs and was from China with a completely different origin story. Somehow, another turtle, but different.
But the suits in Coming Out of Our Shells tour, though. Yeah.
Okay, so I would rank those just below the Saban show.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways, this week's spooky stuff. Spooky stuff.
The Kappa. Kappa are aquatic reptilian humanoids who inhabit the rivers and streams flowing over Japan. Clumsy on land, they are at home in the water and thrive during the warm months. Kappa are generally the size and shape of a human child, yet, despite their small stature, they are physically stronger than a grown man. Their scaly skin ranges from a deep, earthly green to bright reds and even blue.
Huh. Can you imagine something that was like 3'2" tall coming up and like threatening you, and you're like, "What are you gonna do?" And it just straight up picks you up. You're like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah.
Tosses you. little guy's like an ant.
Dude. Nah. Fuck that. Kappa bodies are built for swimming. They have webbed, thumbless hands and feet, a turtle-like beak and shell, and an elastic, waterproof skin that reeks of fish and is said to be removable.
Does it reek of fish or does it reek of itself? Right? Like you're an aquatic creature. I mean, we don't say. I don't know. I'm thinking too much into this. Continue.
It's like don't misidentify the smell of the Kappa. Other inhuman traits include 3 anuses that allow them to pass 3 times as much gas as humans, and forearms attached to one another inside of their shells. Well, that feels like an afterthought to mention that.
No, dude. It's important. Like, this thing farts enough that we need to specify that it has 3 anuses.
The 3 anuses is an important thing to learn here, for sure. But what I'm saying is, like, in the same sentence was, in forearms attached to one another inside of their shells. It's like, well, hold on. You had me at the 3 anuses there. Hold up.
It's like you can't just pass by that.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, let's spend another moment or two. But anyways,
Ryan, I assure you, the reason why I didn't have you read this article before we started recording is because there's a surprisingly large amount of things to do with the anus in this.
All right,
strap in.
Strap right on in for Kappa butthole traits. Here we go. So, pulling on one arm lengthens it, while the other arm contracts.
Yeah, because they're connected together.
Right. Okay. So they like do like that.
They're
All
like,
right.
you know those cheap toys you buy?
Right.
It's
Right.
kinda
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that.
You pull. Yeah. Okay. But their most distinguishing characteristic is the dish-like depression that lies on top of their skulls. This dish is the source of a Kappa's power, and must be kept filled with water at all times. Should the water be spilled and the dish dry up, the Kappa will be unable to move. It may even die.
Yeah, that's how Hellboy beat him.
Is that it?
Well, I mean, in the Storm of Swords. That's
Okay.
how Hellboy did it.
Why am I just reminded of that poor robot in Futurama? This is it. This is the end. She needed water to continue.
Yeah, it was a robot that was not built with modern technology. It was a wood robot, and inside was a little water wheel, like would be in a river to like mill,
Yeah.
Grain. So she had to keep running back to the water to stay alive.
And just in the middle of sentences, she'd be like, she would run out. This is it.
Oh no!
Because if it stops, like it does like a complete memory wipe.
Yeah.
So while younger Kappa are frequently found in family groups, adult Kappa live solitary lives. However, It is common for Kappa to befriend other yokai and sometimes even people. Possessed of a keen intelligence, Kappa are one of the few yokai able to learn human languages. They are highly knowledgeable about medicine and the art of setting bones. According to legend, friendly Kappa taught these skills to humans. For
That's kind of cool, right?
yeah,
Like, I just know things, right? I'm a river turtle, but I do know how to cure SARS.
that's right. I know
Just
things.
just so you know, SARS not a problem.
Thank you, Kappa. So
I
for
don't know why I picked SARS.
I don't know either. So for fun, they love causing mischief, practicing martial arts like sumo wrestling,
Just get kicked in the
and
face.
playing games of skill like shogai.
Just getting kicked in the face. Just sit there, just bam. Oh fuck! Did that turtle punch me?
So it kind of does, it tracks that dude thought that the Ninja Turtles were Kappa.
Yeah, fair enough.
Kappa are proud and stubborn, but also fiercely honorable. They never break a promise. Kappa will eat almost anything, but they are particularly fond of two foods: cucumbers and raw innards, particularly human anuses.
That's right.
All right. So,
These turtles eat ass,
these
man.
turtles eat ass. I didn't hear
Can
that
we
verse.
name that episode? No, we can't.
No,
No.
I don't think we can. These turtles eat.
I'm
So-
sorry. It's just funny. It goes on to explain why they do it, but it's just funny. It's alarming to read the first time.
It is alarming. So, they are revered in Shinto as a kind of water god. It is not uncommon to see offerings of cucumbers made at riverbanks by devout humans.
Yeah, much rather give you a cucumber than my
Take
entrails.
all of my cucumbers.
Yeah,
Just take-
exactly.
you
Don't-
can have them.
I do not need that. Here you go, sir. I grow cucumbers just in case.
Grow more. We bring more cucumbers.
Do you want your ass eaten? Maybe.
Yeah, then there's the one guy like, I don't have no cucumbers.
Just sit next
Ain't
to
that
the
a
river.
shame? That's just a shame.
Oh, to be fair, it's not gender specific. Many people enjoy their butt being eaten.
That's true.
All right.
That's true. It
Damn
is
right.
2024 after all. Going into 2025. Can you believe it?
Oh,
My God.
I'm really close to having to edit this part. We need to move on.
Let's do it.
All right.
In return, Kappa help people by irrigating fields, befriending lonely children, or competing with adults in sports and games.
It's just funny because it's like sometimes they'll set some bones, sometimes they'll cure diseases. They might till your field. They could just punch you in the face and eat your asshole. You know, just one of those things.
It's a real coin toss with the
Yes.
Kappa.
You gotta watch out. Oh
Cap-
man, can you imagine what that guy from Ninja Turtles 3 was thinking?
No, my God,
He's like, oh,
Kappa. Like,
oh no.
oh my God, it would have been so funny if he like threw a cucumber at them. Like, oh, dude, they should have did that. Like, just like they just kept like why did he like dude, why did he leave a bunch of cucumber out
Yeah,
here?
just everyone's smacking him in the face with cucumbers the whole movie. They're like, we do not get this. Is this cultural? What's happening?
Kappa.
Oh.
So, the
Sorry.
Kappa
Oh my god.
can also be crass and dangerous.
A bit.
Lakes and rivers where they live are often marked with warning signs. Kappa particularly despise cows and horses and will attack the animals for no reason at all.
Hey. Hey. Hey, cow. Fuck you.
It's like, hey, Kappa, how do you feel about horses?
Oh my god.
Fuck them.
Remember when I told you we couldn't swear?
Yeah, fuck swearing.
That was a while ago.
Mischievous by nature. They loudly pass gas in public.
See, the three butthole thing, right?
And love to peek up women's caminos.
Ooh. So they're perverts.
So they're perverts. Sometimes their mischief turns violent. Kappa have been known to kidnap or grape swimming women
Uh,
and kill people. That is horrible.
yeah, yeah.
A
Not
Kappa's
gonna joke about that.
a Kappa's preferred method of attack is to drown its victims or bite them to death underwater.
Yeah, no.
Kappa also devour humans alive. Usually they go for the rear end
That's
to
right.
to get at the Shirikodoma.
Yes.
Shirikodoma. Yeah, I did that.
Yeah, Shrikadoma.
Shirikodoma, a mythical ball of flesh located just inside the anus.
Okay, so this mythical anus ball houses our soul.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yes,
Yep, that makes total sense.
absolutely.
Yes. And the Kappa knows.
It does. It wants our anus
It
balls.
wants, it wants that ball, dude. So, in the water, there is no escape for anyone who crosses a Kappa. On land, however, it is possible to outwit one. The honorable Kappa will feel obligated to return a bow. If it can be tricked into bowing so low that the water in its dish spills out, it can be overcome. Once bested, Kappa have been made to swear loyalty and friendship to their victor for the rest of their lives. So you get like a Wookiee life mate there.
Yeah,
Out of
yeah.
the
Who
Kappa.
doesn't want like a weird karate fighting turtle? Wait, nope, take it back. I absolutely want a weird karate fighting turtle.
I mean, this win-win.
Yeah.
So
Michelangelo, Leonardo, Ass Eater, Raphael.
yeah, we left him out of the kids' cartoon for good reasons. It didn't work over well with the test audience.
You know, there's just some countries that just can't get down with, and we're like, dude, it is historically viable. Didn't work.
Didn't work.
Yeah.
We tried.
Moving on.
Yanagita Kunio compiled numerous stories depicting the Kappa's mischief in his work titled Kappa Kamahiki. Kappa luring horses into water is what that means. One tale recounts a Kappa riding on the back of a farmer's ox. It led the ox down a narrow underground stream of water, thus drowning it. A story from Okayama Prefecture portrays children playing along the water's edge when a mysterious child with a water-filled dish challenges them to sumo wrestling. As the children look closer, they realize it is a Kappa in disguise. Outsmarting the creature, they shake their heads. The creature mimics their movements and spills its life-sustaining dish, forcing it to retreat into the water.
Hmm. I'm just imagining, there's always like 3 kids in a trench coat posing as an adult.
Yes.
So I'm imagining this weird little turtle thing, just like, what up, fellow children?
Yes.
like wearing a baseball cap and like holding a skateboard. How you doing? Be like,
Why do you have that bucket of water on your head?
don't worry about it. Why don't you have a nose?
Maybe if you should take a bow real low.
I mean, that's not a trick at all. Ryan, you would die.
Yeah. Oh, damn. Don't eat my butthole. Don't do it. Don't take that piece.
Oh man, you're Shiragana, I think.
Like, I can get cucumbers, man.
I get you all the cucumbers.
Dude, I could get us all the cucumbers, dude.
I get you a field of cucumbers.
You like pickles? You ever tried pickles?
Why
Pickles
aren't
are great.
cucumbers the main like farming thing
I don't know.
in the area? I'm just saying.
Not everybody grows cucumbers. So, other versions of this tale involve children provoking the Kappa by eating cucumbers. So wait a minute. This is like you want your kids to like eat.
So their kids are taunting them.
Yeah, I
It's like,
guess.
oh, you want these cucumbers? They're eating it in front of you. Yeah.
I'm just saying that's like a weird part of the tale because usually these tales are like to scare kids. It's like if you don't eat cucumbers, then the Kappa will get you. You don't often say like, oh, don't eat cucumbers, the Kappa will get you. Okay, so we're back to the anus now. Some Japanese myths say human beings have something in their body called shirikodama, the small anus ball. The ball is thought to be the soul tucked inside the intestines. Many stories tell of a Kappa sneaking up on a swimmers from down below, drowning them and sucking out their shirokodomas.
It's just like, what's happening in Japan where this myth originated? Like,
The Kappa's presence continues to endure in modern Japan, but its image vastly differs from the scary version in folklore. In the 1960s, a Kappa craze swept Tokyo, resulting in merchandise, logos, and advertisements featuring friendlier Kappa imagery. The Kappa even became a mascot for environmental campaigns, encouraging people to care for Earth's waters instead of threatening to drown them. Since then, Kappa themed keychains, clothing, and plush toys have been sold in souvenir shops and continue to be loved by locals and tourists alike.
oh, here, honey, have a butt-eating turtle.
It has 3 buttholes.
It's not the fact that the creature has 3 buttholes. It's just the idea of like a stuffed animal that would have 3 buttholes, which I realize their cute version of the Kappa probably does not. But I say, if you're going to commit, you need to commit. If your mythical creature has 3 buttholes, I demand you sew 3 buttons on the bottom of that stuffed animal.
So, yes. Permission to make a South Park reference.
Oh, yeah.
When they brought back Professor Mephisto, who just put more butts on things, and they just come in, they just pan with him like petting like a cat or something. He's just like, "Don't worry, soon you'll have more asses than you can possibly imagine." So, back.
That was like a season 1 South Park reference.
Well, they brought him back, and that was the line that he said when they brought him back, like as like a joke, because like that's all he did. Yeah, in the original, they never explained it. Like they never even bothered back then.
You could tell that the Matt Stone and Trey Parker were just out of college, and they're like, "We think this is funny, so that's
Exactly.
why we're doing this."
Yeah, definitely. So back to the Kappa. It has transformed into a cute, endearing character within contemporary Japanese culture. Kappa Matsuri festivals are held yearly in Aichi, Aomori, Kochi, Ibaraki, and Tokyo, and incorporate the little monster into their celebrations, embracing and preserving Japanese folklore into the modern day.
I don't know if you got any of those cities right, but that was a good try.
I gave it my best shot. I love it. I like having a little bit of a challenge. Wander along a street in Tokyo and you'll see Kappa statues and signs welcoming you into shops. You might find a smiling Kappa at a post office, onsen, or train station. It's also appeared as a character in several anime, manga, and video games, such as Kapp'n, the ship captain in Nintendo's Animal Crossing franchise.
Right. So that turtle captain from Animal Crossing, that game that you or your child plays, I want you to know when you look at that character, look into its eyes. It's farting a lot because it has 3 buttholes.
That is
And
funny.
it really, really wants that fleshy ball in your butt.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. My God, I didn't know that our souls were in our butts, but it kind of makes sense.
No, you know what? I always knew the soul was in my butt.
You
I couldn't think of how to finish
It's
that.
like-
It's just strange because I have always known about the Kappa because, like, I was serious. Like I talked about it, they mentioned it in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but I knew about the creature's bowl on its head. I knew spilling the
Yeah.
water killed the creature. I knew all that, but it wasn't until reading this article that I knew any of that stuff. So I just thought it was really, really funny, and I really wanted you to read it for the first time. On the air.
I read this for the first time on air, y'all, because that was effing hilarious, and Joe knew it, so he was just that was a treat. Thank you, Joe. That was a good spooky stuff.
Yeah, anytime we have a spooky stuff that has a surprise thing that makes me laugh, I'm gonna just give it to you.
So don't forget to leave a cucumber out for the Kappa,
Just in case, we're saying.
and maybe go to bed wearing pants tonight.
And with that, it brings us to our next segment, which we, of course, lovingly call
Disclosure discussion. Ha 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 ha. It's about aliens and stuff.
The Manhattan Alien Abduction. This has just come out on Netflix, The series investigates one woman's claims that she was taken by aliens from her Manhattan apartment in 1989.
So it's a docu-series, or it's like a one-episode documentary, or is it like a movie?
From what I can see, it looks like maybe 3 episodes.
Nice.
So this is actually from Netflix.com. It says in 1989, New York City resident Linda Napolitano said she was abducted by aliens outside her high-rise apartment. The occurrence, known as the Brooklyn Bridge abduction, was reportedly witnessed by over 20 people and became highly publicized. But did it really happen? Or was it all a hoax?
Hmm?
From Vivian Perry, who did Meet Me in the Bathroom, the series director Daniel Vernon from Nail Bomber Manhunt, the Manhattan alien abduction investigates the case and features an interview with Napolitano. So the docu-series retraces the Brooklyn Bridge abduction, which allegedly happened to a woman named Linda Napolitano in November 1989, who said she was taken from her apartment in Lower Manhattan. She reported the incident to UFO researcher Bud Hopkins, who later claimed to have found over 24 witnesses who saw Napolitano that night floating above her building.
Okay, well, to be fair, you get like one or two people. Were they all right? Unless they're all like a group of friends who do meth together, you got to take that seriously.
Right, and this is in 1989.
Okay, so
So-
unless it's a group of friends who do crack together,
There
you
you
got
go.
to
That
take
may
it
be more like
seriously.
coke, yeah. So Hopkins, who used hypnosis techniques to help Napolitano recover memories of the alleged abduction, was married at the time to filmmaker Carol Rainey,
All right.
now a vocal doubter of the incident. The series chronicles Napolitano's relationship with Rainey and Hopkins, the case's journey into the mainstream press, and the widespread public skepticism surrounding it. So I thought that was interesting. And there is an update that I just saw where it says Linda Napolitano.
It is a hard name.
It is a hard name. Says the docuseries The Manhattan Alien Abduction defames her by including interviews and content from Carol Rainey, a skeptic of her story, and the ex-wife of the UFO investigator who first publicized the case. And she is now trying to actually have a lawsuit against Netflix. I mean, good luck. But
Okay, yeah. Well, you can't sue a person who makes a documentary because they have the other side of the story. I mean, the whole point of an intriguing documentary is this is what some people do. This is what other people do. I mean, do you remember, was it Tiger King or whatever that was?
Yep.
You had Carol Bassett and the other guy, I forget his name, the Giorgio McFly, whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
But the point is, neither one of them were like, well, they might have been. But there's going to be two sides to every story, is all I'm saying.
Exactly. And that's why I wanted to talk about this today because, I mean, it is a new thing that just came out, but
What was the name of the Netflix series? What's the name?
it is going to be called
It's out
The
on Netflix.
Manhattan Alien Abduction, and it is on Netflix.
Noise.
What I thought was important was with this subject, we often get this, who do you believe? Because it, like you said, it is important. You have to get everybody's opinion. You've got the skeptics, and then you got her. Obviously, she was under the impression that this was just going to be probably a story from her account and just that.
Yeah.
So maybe if they misled her in some way.
It's tough to say, right? I mean, I've never been in a position where I had to get an interview from someone and that what I was making was going to be possibly something they would object to, right? So I don't know, honestly, if you do you lie? Do you mislead? Is it immoral? Yes. Is it illegal? No. Is it common practice? I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Like
Exactly.
I've never personally been in that position. All the documentary work I've done has been short form, or I haven't been in a position to make those decisions.
I think that she's making a mistake by like trying to sue or whatever. It's like if you truly, believe if what you're telling is the truth, just tell your truth. I don't know.
I mean, unless she didn't sign the NDA or whatever agreement. The
Yeah.
point is those contracts are really thorough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're interviewing you about this. Everything you say on this film we can use, and that's you can't really argue with that. You signed it.
Right. So watch the Manhattan Alien Abduction on Netflix and decide for yourself. Is it truth or not?
Do, do, do. The truth is out there.
Calling all comic fans, it's time to feed your brain at Green Brain Comics, where the freshest new issues, graphic novels, and manga hit the shelves every week. Whether you're looking for the hottest new series or the latest small press sensation, we've got it all. Every genre for every age, Green Brain Comics is your one-stop shop for all things graphic storytelling. Got questions? Our friendly staff knows their stuff. Whether you're a longtime fan or new to the world of comics, we've got recommendations that'll keep you coming back for more. And don't forget to check out our special events. Green Brain Comics is not just a store, it's a community. Located in East Downtown Dearborn, we are at Green Brain Comics on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Shop online at greenbraincomics.com, and remember to feed your brain at Green Brain Comics.
Earthling Entertainment special report. Reba McEntire wants to join the MCU. Strange. I say we make her Mephisto. Yee-pow! Kid Cudi is joining the cast of Happy Gilmore 2. Nice. I know. They're still doing that one. Netflix. Earthling Entertainment special report.
Well, unfortunately, it is that time again.
Here we go.
Let's all strap in for another.
Remember that guy? Remember that gal? Well, now they're dead.
Quincy Jones, Grammy-winning producer for Michael Jackson and film composer, dies at 91. This comes to us from Variety.com. Quincy Jones, who distinguished himself over the course of a 70-year career in music as an artist, bandleader, composer, arranger, and producer, has died. He was 91. Jones died Sunday night at his home in the Bel Air neighborhood of Los Angeles, according to a statement shared with Variety by his rep, Arnold Robinson. A cause of death was not disclosed. So it says here, quote, "Tonight, with full but broken hearts, we must share the news of our father and brother Quincy Jones passing. And although this is an incredible loss for our family, we celebrate the great life that he lived and know there will never be another like him," the Jones family said in a statement. "He is truly one of a kind, and we will miss him dearly. We take comfort and immense pride in knowing that the love and joy that were the essence of his being was shared with the world through all that he created. Through his music and his boundless love, Quincy Jones's heart will beat for an eternity. Quincy Jones, you will be missed."
Quincy Jones, you will be missed. And you know what? Not to take away from any of his accomplishments, but the only reason why I was aware of him when I was young, I mean, obviously I know now who he is. In 2002, he actually did a cameo in Austin Powers Goldmember.
Oh, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Quincy Jones.
That's right. That's so funny.
So that was why I knew him. And yeah, of course he'll be missed. I mean, you can't work in the industry that long, have that much impact, and not just affect every aspect of pop culture that we listen to and that we see.
Of course.
Yeah. So wonderful. And we tip our hat to you, sir.
Yeah. Heck of a career. Sounds like a good guy. He will be missed. R.I.P. dude.
He will be missed. Earthling Entertainment headlines.
The Wayans brothers are filming a Scary Movie reboot in 2025.
I don't want it to be a reboot. I want it to be number 6. That's what I thought they said. I thought they said it was number 6. It's a reboot. Boo. Continue.
This comes to us from Nerdist.com.
Yeah.
Like the original Scream film that it parodies, the first Scary Movie film, 2000, changed the game and inspired many films to follow as well as its own franchise. The first 2 Scary Movie films were developed by Marlon Wayans, Sean Wayans, and Keenan Ivory Wayans. As we all know, they are 3 brothers from the iconic Wayans comedian family who gave us gifts like In Living Color, The Wayans Brothers, and more.
Yeah, and Living Covers, where we got Robin Williams. Not Robin Williams. What the fuck am I talking about?
Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey.
That's
Thank
right,
you.
yeah.
Where my brain went.
Let me show
melted.
you something.
Yeah, he's great.
Marlon and Sean starred in the first 2 Scary Movie films as weed-smoking Shorty and Ray, respectively. The Wayans departed the franchise after those first 2 films, and its quality took a significant nosedive as a result.
Yeah, the third one wasn't good. The fourth one really wasn't good, but the fifth one wasn't bad.
I watched them all. I remember they were all just goofy. Like, I mean, that's what they were supposed to be. They were just spoofs.
Yeah, well, they went from parody to just stupid. Like, the difference is parodying a movie is like, hey, we're going to parody Scream. Like, here's a killer running around in the Scream mask, only shenanigans happen. That's a parody. Now, when you get to the later ones, it's just like each scene is itself a parody of a completely unrelated movie. So it stops being like a parody movie and started being like SNL skits all put together.
Yeah, I remember even Juno was in one of them, and
That's
she's
kind of
like,
what I'm saying.
and that's my baby's foot or whatever. Where, like, she's like beating someone up, and like her baby's foot like came out and beat their ass. For
You know
a
what's
sec.
really funny though? I don't think that was a scary movie, but that's what it spawned. I think that was Epic Movie, though, the disaster one. They have Epic Movie,
Yeah,
they
I
have
think you're
Disaster
right.
Movie.
It was disaster movie. I think you're right.
Yeah, they had superhero movie. They had Not Another Teen Movie, which, by the way, Not Another Teen Movie is the only good one in all those. but
God, it was so great. There was so many weird scenes in that.
They had Date Movie, Dance Flick,
It was, yeah, parody films were like a whole thing.
and Scary Movie started them.
Yep. Now, 18 years after Scary Movie 2, the Wayans brothers are returning to the franchise for a reboot film with Miramax and Paramount. According to Deadline, the announcement came at CinemaCon, and the new film will shoot sometime in 2025. It is not clear at this time if Marlon or Sean Wayans will reprise their previous roles or stay behind the camera.
I mean, I hope they're in it. They don't have to be the same characters, but I hope they're in it.
I'm sure there'll be like a cameo, right? Unless they really want to do it. We'll see. We are thrilled to reunite Scary Movie with the Wayans brothers, the brilliant creators behind the beloved franchise, said Miramax boss Jonathan Glickman. The timing is perfect to bring back the series to the big screen, and we're lucky to have Keenan, Marlon, and Sean's unique comedic vision, bringing it to audiences around the world. The Wayans brothers released a statement saying, "We couldn't be more excited to be a part of this new Scary Movie and work with each other again. This is a franchise we created more than 20 years ago. We remember people laughing in the aisles and hoping to see that happen again. We look forward to working with Jonathan Glickman and his team at the new Miramax to bring these laughs to theaters where they belong. It's a double reunion. The first 2 Scary Movie films absolutely have some humor that wouldn't fly in today's world, but the Wayans are comedic geniuses who know how to tailor and adapt to the times. Let's see what they choose to parody in this new silly movie."
Yeah, I'm excited. I thought they did a great job, and I always like their comedy. So hey, if they want to do it again, which obviously they do, I'm here for it. We'll see what happens. I still don't want it to be a reboot though, because those movies were very, very loosely connected. You can do another one, call it 6, have no connective tissue, and not have to reboot it.
No, yeah, you could literally do anything. Like, anything at all with these movies. They're literally just supposed to be ridiculous.
I just
so-
don't want it to say Scary Movie. You know, it's kind of like when Halloween 2018 came out, and they're like, it's called Halloween. It's a sequel to Halloween, but it's called Halloween. Scream did that. They were like, oh, this is not Scream 5. We're just going to call it Scream. And now, because of that, everyone has to go, oh, Scream 2020?
I actually do have to agree with you and that's where they lose people like me, where it's like I wouldn't mind seeing the new ones, but like I'm like, I don't even know what the timeline is. Like, you call these movies like Halloween or whatever, and like, yeah, like could you just put a number on it? Let's just be old school.
Yeah,
Come on.
it does make it a little bit easier.
Yeah, that's how I feel for sure. But that kind of brings us to our next headline about something that just has many, 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 many sequels.
Oh my God. So,
A favorite here on the podcast.
I love Tremors. Tremors. So everything I could say about this story, the story itself it's going to be revealed in the article. So we'll talk about it after you read it, but there's a lot of interesting things here. Go ahead, Ryan.
A Tremors reboot is likely happening. Here's what we know. This comes to us from Fangoria.com. In the arena of great creature features, of which there are many, it feels like 1990s Tremors perhaps doesn't get the credit it deserves.
Tremors is amazing.
It's a lean, mean, and fun ride full of great practical effects that hold up to this day. We've had 6 direct-to-video sequels over the years.
I could name them all.
He can.
I won't.
He would. As well as a TV show. And now,
Technically a TV show and a pilot TV show.
it seems like a reboot of some sort is in the cards. That's because original writers S.S. Wilson and Brent Maddock have secured the rights to their original screenplay, which means they can now do with it as they please.
Yeah. So basically, after 30 years, if you wrote a screenplay, let's say hypothetically, you created Freddy Krueger. Well, at this point, 30 years passes, you can get the rights to your screenplay after those 30 years, despite which company may have made 30, 40 sequels to it. But the key is you only have the rights to your work. So anything that came after, you don't.
Okay, well, that makes sense. That's what it says here. It says, like, they can do with it as they please. Then it says, sort of, it's complicated, but we'll get into that. Joe likes to get into it.
Yes, they will.
The second annual Tremors Fest was recently held in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Wilson was in attendance, and via Joe Blow,
Yes,
he broke
JoBlo.com.
he broke the big news. Before diving into what any of it might mean for the future of the franchise, let's go over what I said exactly per Wilson. Quote, what we have now, just got, are the rights to our original screenplay. That's good. We can remake Tremors if we want to. We don't have the rights to Shriekers. We don't have the rights to Ass Blasters. We don't have the rights to Tremors 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Copyright law is a complicated beast, but in essence, Wilson and Maddock were able to successfully terminate the copyright on their original Tremors screenplay, which was released by Universal Pictures. After 35 years, creators can transfer the rights of a given copyright. That's partially what has held up a new Friday the 13th movie
Oh, they were fighting forever.
for all these years. In this case, it seems slightly less messy. Wilson, Maddock, and their company, Stampede Entertainment, now own the screenplay for the first film in the U.S., but not the franchise as a whole. Directed by Ron Underwood, the original film centers on Vale McKee, Kevin Bacon, and Earl Bassett, Fred Ward, 2 repairmen who are tired of life in the small desert town of Perfection. As they try to leave, they stumble upon several mysterious deaths and a seismologist, played by Finn Carter, who is studying unnatural readings below ground. The town is then forced to fight for survival against worm-like creatures hungry for human flesh, known as graboids.
Num 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 human flesh.
As Wilson made clear, Universal did a lot with the franchise over the years, releasing 6 DTV sequels, including Tremors 2, Aftershocks,
Great
Tremors
film.
3, Back to Perfection,
Not that great.
the prequel, Tremors 4, The Legend Begins,
Surprisingly good.
Tremors 5, Bloodlines,
It was okay.
Tremors, A Cold Day in Hell.
It was better.
I actually thought that one was really good.
Yeah, I
And
like that.
Tremors, Shrieker Island.
That was okay. They did in the series.
I thought it
John
was- I thought it
John
was good.
Heater was in it. They're like, you
Yeah.
know what? We can't get we can't get the guy we got the last couple of them, Jamie Kennedy. He
Yeah.
played the son,
Yeah.
right? And he was in 5 and 6. And then like I don't know why they didn't get him for 7. So it seems like they wrote his character in for 7, but quickly had to change it to a brand new character, and it is Napoleon Dynamite.
That's right.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think he did a pretty good job. So for what it's worth, Shrieker Island provided an ending of sorts for the franchise,
Ugh.
with Michael Gross's gun-toting Burt Gummer meeting his demise.
I would have asked Reba McEntire to come back for an after credit scene. Like just because she was in the first one and none of the other ones. So like the 7th film when you kill Burt Gummer, to have her just walk out an after credit scene with like cock a shotgun and be like, I'm gonna get these worms now.
Yeah, that would have been great.
So silly.
But it says here that Gross had become the series' mainstay, starring in every film to date. So, what can Stampede Entertainment do? More importantly, what will they do? If they try to execute a remake or sequel of some kind, they can't use any elements from the sequels, including creatures such as shriekers or ass blasters. More importantly,
Okay, so I want to just say though, the third movie making another form of the tremor and calling them the graboid, excuse me, and then naming them ass blasters. That is okay. Why? Why? You make it PG-13. I'm pretty sure it was a direct to TV movie. I think it was made by Sci-Fi Channel. They bought it at the time, and it was actually a backdoor pilot for the Tremors series. I have so many problems with that third movie. And then afterwards, everyone just had to go with it because they're like, well, we established that they turn into ass blasters, which is the stupidest. Like, the Shriekers made sense. It's fine. They made it work. It took time, though. I'm sorry.
Joe is
I have
very
a lot of feelings on
Joe's
Tremors.
very passionate about Tremors, as am I, and I understand. So it says here, more importantly, they only control the rights in the U.S. for international distribution. They would still have to work something out. For what it's worth, Wilson said on an episode of the Talking Tremors podcast that they have no plans to remake the original. It says, quote, Stampede has zero intention to do a remake of the first movie. They're most likely going to try to make a sequel that's set in Perfection, Nevada, with the remaining cast and crew and another graboid threat. That means if Bacon would be interested in returning, which I hope he does, we could get a legacy sequel of sorts focused on Val McKee in Perfection decades after the events of the original film. Bacon did star in a pilot for a sci-fi show that functioned very much like that, but the pilot didn't get picked up to a series. So, who knows? Maybe they revisit the idea as a movie instead. In any event, it does seem like a new Tremors movie of some kind will be pursued now. As for what shape and that takes and how soon it comes together, that's far less certain for the time being. Stay tuned.
Tremors.
Tremors.
I don't need to keep saying I'm a big fan, but I have a comic that was like made by the fans that's independently produced, and the guys there who make that comic went to that like Tremors Con, and I didn't know about it until this year, so I couldn't go. But if it keeps going, I might go to a convention all about Tremors. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, you would. I think you would love it.
I just love conventions. Next Saturday I'm going to Motor City Comic Con. I'm gonna probably get Freddy Krueger to take a picture of my son. Robert Englund's gonna be there. It's gonna very cool. Out of all the conventions I've been to, I think the coolest one was PantheaCon because it was a convention for Wiccans and pagans in Northern California, and there was like crazy drum circles and all this fun nonsense and really sexualized anthropomorphic animal coloring books. There was a lot going on in that one.
There's a lot going on there for sure.
Yeah. All right, so we can move on to
Number three.
Oh no.
Man down. Here we go. Strap yourselves in. Another Jumanji movie is coming to life soon. This comes to us from Collider.com. The Jumanji franchise will continue to expand on the big screen. According to The Hollywood Reporter, the next installment in the series will premiere in theaters on December 11th, 2026. Director Jake Kasdan is expected to sit behind the camera once again for the adventure that will mark the return of the main cast from the latest movies. Unlike the original movie starring Robin Williams as Alan Parrish, recent stories have been centered around a digital version of Jumanji. The first chapter in the story focused on a board game of the same name that was capable of trapping people in a different dimension. The last movie in the series, Jumanji: The Next Level, marked the return of Dwayne Johnson, Jack Black, Karen Gillan, and Kevin Hart.
Karen Gillian.
Thank you, Gillian. Gillian? Really? There's not even an I before that A. I call shenanigans on her name.
Oh,
and
wait.
Kevin Hart.
That's the way it's always been pronounced to me. I don't know.
I believe you. No,
My
I'm just
wife's
saying.
a huge fan of Doctor Who, and she was in Doctor Who,
No,
so that's...
I believe you. I'm just saying, like, I always have such a tough time with names, and I just feel like that dude from just, oh, come on.
Maybe
Like,
it is Karen Gillan.
It could
Yeah,
be.
it's probably Karen Gillan.
Probably could be.
Now you have me questioning everything.
Good. So they will return as the main avatars of the video game. It's currently unknown if the actors and characters from the real world will return in the upcoming sequel.
Yeah, the kids who were like the real life version of The Rock and Chris Rock.
And that is kind of cool that they can kind of do that. They might as well. That kind of makes sense. Might as well just do it one more time. Make a trilogy.
If they're characters in the game, though, like anybody could play them. Is
Exactly.
the point, right? So
Right.
yeah.
Cast members for the new Jumanji adventure haven't been confirmed beside the main stars. Plot details connected to the story haven't been revealed at this time either. In any case, audiences are only a couple of years away from entering the dangerous world of Jumanji once again.
I would like them to end it where it turns back into a board game. It just seems like it would be like a nice cap to the series.
I agree. Some kid just walking by you could just do it the same way. Because they dropped it. How did they end it? What did they do? They dropped it in like the ocean or something?
They dropped it in like a river, and then like it washed up at the ocean at the beginning of the.
That's right. And some kids found it.
Yeah, but I mean the new ones kind of just did their own thing. I think he found it in a basement in the new ones.
So they could just have it where some world traveler like or whatever and their friends like make it like a bunch of teens or whatever find the Jumanji, like at some. They're off on somewhere in the world and they just get it from some seller and they play it and then of course now they're stuck in it.
Yeah, like the new generation gets it.
Yeah.
Here's a question though: if you destroy the game, like let's say this is a dangerous thing, people keep getting sucked into it, then this is dangerous. We're gonna destroy it. Are you destroying all like the lives inside the NPC? Are you killing like a whole jungle worth of monkeys and elephants?
Only if they didn't finish the game.
But no, I'm just saying, like if you burnt the board game. Does that hypothetical universe still exist somewhere and you're just destroying the doorway? Or by destroying the game, is it actually destroying the world that exists inside?
Can the game be destroyed?
That is a different question.
Right? It could just be like indestructible, like magic.
There you go. Gonna be a real twist is if the game at the end of this new Jumanji just kind of turns and twists and suddenly becomes the puzzle box from Hellraiser.
Oh no.
I'd be like, oh shit. Alan Parrish got off lucky.
We will tear your dice apart.
All right.
Number 4.
Number 4. So that is all I really got to say about that. New Jumanji movie, that's cool. I mean,
Yeah.
I liked the other ones. I'm fine with it. Pretty much, yeah, we're good. Moving on. Number 4.
Jack Black's the man. Christopher Lee will voice Saruman in The Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim. This comes to us from Collider.com. A familiar voice will be appearing in The Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim. I hope I'm saying that right.
Rohirrim. Yeah.
Rohirrim.
Yeah.
And
It's Rohan. So it's the Rohirrim. It's the
got it.
warriors from Rohan.
And it will be the very same voice that shouted at the Fellowship on the mountain of Caradas in The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, several decades ago.
The writer of this article really wanted you to know he knew Lord of the Rings.
Oh, he did. In a surprising twist for fans of Peter Jackson's acclaimed fantasy trilogy, not only will the character of Saruman be making an appearance in the new animated epic, but his voice in the film will be none other than that of beloved actor Sir Christopher Lee.
Woo!
How is this possible? If Christopher Lee passed away in 2015, the answer is actually quite simple. During New York Comic-Con, while speaking with TheOneRing.net, longtime The Lord of the Rings writer and Peter Jackson collaborator Philippa Boyens explained how Christopher Lee returns as Saruman in The War of the Rohirrim. With the blessing of Christopher Lee's widow, Git Lee, forgive me, who has also recently passed on, Boyens says they were able to unused footage.
They used unused footage from the Hobbit trilogy.
Right, from the Hobbit trilogy that they were able to seamlessly factor into the animated prequel. Boyens even addresses the option of using a sound-alike to portray Lee's famous character. but she instead insists that they were happy that they were able to use Christopher Lee's actual voice. Since the upcoming film will take place before the events of both the Lord of the Rings trilogy and the Hobbit trilogy, the Saruman that the War of the Rohirrim will follow is a very different character, a wise white wizard who was seen as an ally to men before he fell to darkness and aligned himself with Sauron. Miranda Otto is also set to reprise her character as Eowyn in the new film, but one can't help but wonder if other actors and characters from Peter Jackson's films will also return for a brief cameo appearance, such as Ian McKellen as Gandalf the Grey.
So when it comes to the War of the Rohirrim, it's basically an anime-style animated film that is definitely in the Peter Jackson Lord of the Rings universe. Like it mentioned, has same actors. The thing is, it's stylistically, it is like an anime, and a lot of people do not enjoy. I mean, there's millions of anime fans out there. I don't mean to disparage, but there are a lot of people who are fans of Lord of the Rings, and I don't know if they're going to go see an animated film in theaters like this.
You're probably right. It's definitely going to be. It's a different kind of audience that's going to go to that.
Well, because like I know I'm gonna see it, and I don't. Are you? Are you have any interest in seeing an animated Lord that you love? Your son is named Thorin,
That's right.
so like you love Lord of the Rings.
I do, and I will see it, of course. But am I like counting down the days? Not really.
I
but-
am. It's close to my birthday, so I'm excited.
Nice, nice.
Come on, man. I don't know. I do get it. That's just I don't know how much money it costs to make, but I hope it didn't cost a lot of money because I don't know how much they could possibly make in theaters. I can't think of the last film that was released in the United States that was anime style that did like really well.
I can't think of any.
I mean, like Studio Ghibli imports maybe, but usually those are like Fathom events or like things that are only out for like a weekend.
Yeah, I'm honestly at a loss here when it comes to cartoon movies. The only one I know are kids' movies, so couldn't tell you. Can't help you.
Yeah, I'm getting to the point now where I'm watching more stupid kids movies than the actual films that I want to see. I'm very frustrated by this reality.
Welcome
Having
to
children,
parenthood.
yeah, having children is rough on the things you want to watch. There's like there's Apartment A7 or 7A or something like that. It's a prequel to Rosemary's Baby, and I haven't been able to see that yet. I'm waiting. I still haven't seen Maxine, which is the movie X had X, and then they had Pearl, and then Maxine was the third one. Still haven't seen that. I'm behind.
It's okay.
It is okay.
Welcome to the club.
But I will be watching War of the Rohirrim in theaters. I will. I like it. I like Lord of the Rings. I loved Rings of Power season 2. The first season I tolerated, and I'm stoked on Lord of the Rings. I even read the Silmarillion. I understood a little bit of it.
And we get, some unheard Christopher Lee lines. That's pretty cool.
That is cool. If everything is legit like they say and everyone was on board, I mean, I don't think that would bother me if I got a movie credit and I was in a movie like a few years after I died. I'd be like, nice. I mean, it's different if a robot is using your voice, but if it was actual recordings of you, nice.
Nice.
And that brings us to headline number 5.
Fear Street, Prom Queen, reveals its poster and release window. This comes to us from Nerdist.com. Netflix's Fear Street trilogy brought R.L. Stine's frankly underrated horror books to life with a story that spanned decades. We went to Shadyside, a cursed town, with a long history of murder and mayhem, until Dina Johnson finally freed them from this horrible cycle in 1994. Like Goosebumps, the Fear Street books were an anthology series that told many spooky stories, so fans were hopeful that the trilogy's success would lead to more adventures. And we know more about when that's going to happen. Fear Street will return to Netflix with a 4th installment titled Fear Street, Prom Queen in 2025. The streaming service and R.L. Stine confirmed the release window via social media, and there's so much to look forward to. First, this film is going to take us to Shadyside High School once again for a brand new and dark story. Here's a quick synopsis for the upcoming Fear Street film from Netflix.
A little bit of a tongue twister for you.
Welcome back to Shady Side. In this next installment of the blood-soaked Fear Street franchise, prom season at Shady Side High is underway, and the school's wolf pack of its girls is busy with its usual sweet and vicious campaigns for the crown. But when a gutsy outsider is unexpectedly nominated to the court and the other girls start mysteriously disappearing, the class of '88 is suddenly in for one hell of a prom night. As evidenced by its title, this film will draw specifically from the 1992 book, The Prom Queen. That story lines up pretty closely with the above synopsis, so we will see how it plays out in live action. A new cast will take the lead, of course, but there's a small chance that we will see familiar characters make cameos too. Christine Berman and Nick Good were around and likely in their 20s at the time, and that would tie the story somewhat into the events we saw in 1978 and 1994. Sadly, Leigh Janak is not back as a director this time. Matt Palmer will direct this new movie.
That is right. So I really liked these Fear Street movies. It was like one was in the 70s, one was in the 1994, and I think one was like maybe in the 50s, and it all connected to a witch story. And Sadie Sink starred in the one in the 70s, and that one was at a summer camp. And I got to be honest, I'm a sucker for summer camp stories involving horror. It's not just Jason Voorhees. Like, I just like Sleepaway Camp. I like all of it. I like the setting. I even did a few audio dramas that took place at the summer camp scariness.
I mean, it's a scary thing. You're in the middle of the woods with a bunch of strangers, basically. Your mom and dad ain't there, when you're a kid. Like, that shit's scary when you're a kid.
You know what's funny is out of the two of us, I'm obsessed with summer camp. I didn't go. You did.
All the time.
All the time. So I have childhood envy of your experiences.
Well, I mean, mine was less summer camp. It was Boy Scouts, you know what I mean? So it was different.
I mean, yes and no. Like you
My
still
dad was the scoutmaster.
Okay, so a little less, yes.
So yeah, it was kind of always there. Like, yeah, just it was different for me, I think, than other kids. Because other kids, there were other kids that got homesick a lot and shit like that, and would get scared easy. I would tell scary stories around the campfire. I'd literally, be making kids like scared, pissing themselves. Not kidding. Like,
that's kind of awesome.
I told some good scary stories back then.
I mean, it's not awesome you made children pee themselves.
But it did happen. It happened.
It's awesome that those kids have that spooky experience because it helps you grow as an individual.
That's right. That's right. It was the Headless Ranger. That was the story that I told that scared the crap out of him.
The Headless Ranger. I assume that was a ranger who had no head?
Right? He lost it on a wild ride to save some kids who were up and doing something they weren't supposed to be doing. Yeah. And on his ride,
it's always a story to stop the damn kids.
Exactly. So make sure you're in bed at night, or the Headless Ranger will come and get you because he'll think you're the one who made him lose his head.
Fair enough.
Yep.
Yeah.
That scared a lot of kids.
So, Fear Street Prom Queen obviously takes place mostly is about mostly that story. I don't think it's going to be narratively connected, but hey, I'm excited. So, yeah.
And R.L. Stine is the shit. So
R.L. Stine he's done a lot to impact our childhood. He really
did.
Hasn't he? Yeah.
Yeah.
I just remember how bad he couldn't act because he always was in the opening of the Goosebumps show. And he was like, oh, what a creepy tower. Look at this mask. Masks from ancient times. And you're just like, oh my God. R.L. Stine, you could have got an actor for this, man. You're a great writer, but like, Jeebus crisps. What are you doing?
Dun, 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 dun.
Headline number 6.
Kevin Smith's new movie announcement is the perfect return to the genre that gave us some of his best films.
That's a stretch.
This comes to us from ScreenRant.com.
All right.
Kevin Smith has announced a new horror movie he's writing, and it marks the perfect return to the genre that has delivered some of his bests, arguably, and most underrated films. Smith recently released a new episode of his podcast, Fat Man Beyond.
Fat Man Beyond. You know what's funny is that podcast used to be called Fat Man on Batman, but he lost the weight because he had the heart attack. So ever since then, it was Fat Man Beyond.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's also with Mark Bernardin.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a great co-host as well. Comic book artist and filmmaker himself.
Nice. So he uses this podcast to promote the digital release of his latest film, the 430 movie.
Great film.
I was going to say I got to see the beginning of it and I was loving it. I didn't get to finish it, but so far so good. A biographical coming of age comedy set in the 80s during the 4.5 hour podcast in which Smith broke the record for the longest Fat Man Beyond episode to date. He teased the next screenplay he's working on. Smith's next movie is a new Jay and Silent Bob movie
Called Star Wars.
Yep, Star Wars, in which Jay and Bob get into an intense business rivalry with a fellow weed dispensary.
I'm very excited for that. You know,
That sounds great.
He wrote that this story was just a fun idea he had, and he made it a Jay and Silent Bob story because he wanted to, but it could have been any characters. Like, the idea for the story wasn't about Jay and Bob. It was just like, what if this funny scenario? So I'll be interested in seeing it.
I'm excited for that. But on Fat Man Beyond, he revealed that he's already writing the next movie he'll make after that. Smith describes this script as a horror movie about a satanic cult that's essentially his take on Rosemary's Baby. From Red State to Tusk, Smith has delivered some of his best movies in the horror genre, so this is exciting.
I thought Tusk was super weird and fun, and definitely a horror movie. Red State, on the other hand, was a great film. Not saying it wasn't, but it was like an action and it was like a thriller. I would not say Red State in any way was a horror movie. Like, horrifying things happened in it, but it was all very real life based kind of drama about a religious group of people who were doing unspeakable things and eventually have like an assault by the authorities.
Yeah. No, I liked that movie.
Yeah, I wasn't saying it was a bad movie. I'm just saying I don't know if I'd call it a horror movie.
Yeah, you're right. It was like more of like almost like a disaster, almost like a Doom kind of film.
Action thriller is where I
Yeah.
would put it in my head.
So it says a Kevin Smith version of Rosemary's Baby sounds like an amazing movie. There have been a lot of Rosemary's Baby ripoff lately, from False Positive to Immaculate to the first. Obviously, this is Screen Rant and whatever this guy believes. From False Positive to Immaculate to the first Omen to its own official prequel, Apartment 7A.
That's what I was talking about.
But
Still haven't seen it.
But they've all tried to emulate Rosemary's Baby, and according to this guy, it all failed to match its dread and tension. What gives Smith's movie the edge is that it won't be just a copycat, it'll do its own thing. Smith's Rosemary's Baby homage will have a twisted sense of humor, and he's already proved with Dogma that he's adept at satiring religion.
Which is what I was going to bring up. This is
Yeah.
my insane fan theory. He just got the rights back from Dogma. He can do anything he wants with that property now. What if this is a secret sequel to Dogma? What if it was a horror comedy, not just a strictly horror, and this was his second version of that film?
I mean, it would make sense because, yeah, he already did a whole thing on God and stuff like that. Lucifer was like, not.
Well, Lucifer wasn't in it, but it was talked about it. They
Yeah.
had the demon Azrael. They had Loki, not from Marvel, but from like just as a. The point is, they had gods, they had demons, they had angels. That would be so cool. I don't know. That's my. I'm a guy in my basement and I'm like writing conspiracy theories with string on the wall kind of idea.
Oh yeah, and just for the heck of it, he should get Chris Rock to come back, and he doesn't have to just come back like for a scene, and like maybe just have him give someone like a weird look and then just walk out, just like, yep.
Well, if you need the 13th apostle, you could bring him back. See, the whole idea of it being a sneaky sequel to Dogma is that this report is slightly off and it's not a pure horror, it's a horror comedy, right?
Right.
Like something more like Shaun of the Dead level, or it's like people will die, things are going to get rough, but it's like we're joking about it the whole time.
Right.
Yeah.
It's gonna be goofy.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if that's what he's doing, but that's what I want. That's my tinfoil hat idea.
That'd be nice. But yeah. So I'm looking forward to that for sure. We love Kevin Smith on this podcast. We love Jay and Silent Bob.
Can't lie. Grew up with his films.
Yeah, if you haven't seen Clerks or Clerks 2 or Mallrats, like, please do yourself a favor. Give them a watch. They're so good. They're so funny. You want just some old school 90s comedy.
Absolutely.
So,
I think that might actually be the end of our show for the day. That's all the things we got going on.
I guess so.
Yeah. Well, guys, thank you so much for listening. You know, we do this because we love it. We also do it because it's just a great way to get together and talk about things we love, like the spooky stuff, the creepy stuff, all the monsters out there, along with
Aliens.
all the movies, video games, and TV shows and music we listen to. And we couldn't do it without you. So thank you for supporting the show. Just download the episode would help us out. And once again, if you'd like an Earthling Entertainment bumper sticker, just email us at earthlingentertainmentpodcast@gmail.com.
That's right. That's all you got to do. And your mission, should you choose to accept it, share this podcast, this episode, from today with a coworker, with a friend, with a loved one, with a fellow Earthling. For we all are Earthlings, and we all need entertainment. And you'll find it right here.
Or, smart dog. That's fine too. They
That's
know
true.
like up to 40 words or something.
That's a whole demographic, sir. That's
Yeah.
a whole demographic.
If we
Dog
can, if we can crack
podcasting.
it, if we can crack the animal market, right, where people would just play us when they leave for their pets. I don't know, man. That's a whole unheard of thing. We're gonna get cute thing. Oh my God, we've just figured out business, sir.
This comes to us from thedailybark.com.
Oh man, that would be hilarious. We get
Right.
sponsors by like Petco and shit. Be like, so you guys ever hear about ticks? What a pain. Podcasts completely just alter it to just cater to pets.
That's right.
What a weird rambling this has gotten into. Anyways, guys, have a good one. We'll talk to you later. See ya.
Goodbye.
See you next week.
We will.